You ever met someone so focused, so locked in that opportunities just magnetize to them? That wasn't me. For most of my life, I struggled hard with discipline. In high school, my notes were a mess. I was constantly missing deadlines. And I started studying for exams just days before. As I got older, this lack of structure started weighing on me. I felt stuck, anxious, and frustrated. I knew I had goals, but I just couldn't seem to move forward towards them. And worse, I was watching days slip by without any change. Then about 6 years ago, something clicked. I went all in on mastering discipline. I read books, listened to podcasts, and conducted a bunch of experiments on myself. Some of these strategies flopped hard, but a few of them, they changed everything. I became someone who wakes up before the sun, trains like an athlete, does 4 hours of deep focus work even before most people are up. And because of this, I have landed roles at Fortune 500 companies doing the work that I once dreamed of. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 discipline frameworks that reshaped my life. These aren't just tips, these are habits that made goals chase me. So let's get right into it. You might think that if you skip breakfast, it would tank your energy. But hear me out. One of the biggest performance enhancers that I stumbled upon during my experiments was fasting. When I work in a fasted state, no food, no distractions, I just feel way sharper. There's no post-meal slump, no brain fog. My energy is clean, my focus is high. And this mental clarity makes hard work feel effortless. And contrast this with eating a heavy breakfast. Your body diverts all its energy into digesting that meal. And suddenly you're just tired, scrolling, and now you need stimulants just to keep yourself awake. So these days, I don't eat for the first 4 to 5 hours after waking up. This is the period of time where I get 90% of my work done. Okay, unpopular opinion time. Too much socializing kills your momentum. I used to have everything going well, sleep dialed in, workouts consistent, and my diet was super clean. But then a party or a social event would pop up. Suddenly I'm up till 2 a.m. eating shitty food and waking up feeling like I got hit by a truck. And the worst part is it wasn't just that day that I lost. It was the next few days too. The brain fog, the laziness, the cravings, they would pull me off track. So with my momentum gone, rebuilding always felt like a pain in the ass. So what I did to deal with this was that I started setting up limits. I now attend social gatherings only once every 7 to 10 days. So this way my interactions are a lot more intentional and I get to enjoy the best of both worlds. I get to get that social company as well as maintain my momentum of discipline. You know, growing up, I thought that being skinny was like a cheat code. You can eat whatever you want and you're never going to gain weight. So I did. I ate fast food, drank soda, ate chips. Every day was a cheat day. But what I didn't realize that it wasn't just affecting my body, but it was also destroying my mind. I felt anxious, unmotivated, had a lot of brain fog. Like I would feel sad randomly for no reason at all. Eventually, I realized that what we call junk food is exactly that. It's junk. So I made a shift and I started cutting out all foods that came in packets and had 15 plus ingredients in them, and instead I started consuming whole single ingredient natural food. And I'm not gonna lie, this switch was kind of difficult at first. I kept relapsing and craving junk food until I coupled my diet with longer fasts. Fasting broke my food addiction and I stopped craving that poison anymore. Within weeks of cleaning up my diet, I felt happier, my mood a lot more stable, and my focus just skyrocketed. If you want to be mentally sharp and disciplined, a clean source of fuel is non-negotiable. Let me be real with you. Discipline doesn't mean that you won't have fun in life. In fact, you need pleasure in your life just to feel sane. But here's the catch. Not all pleasure is equal. There's instant pleasure, the cheap dopamine you get from scrolling, binge eating fast food, playing video games. It might feel good at the moment, but once you're done with that activity, you feel shit. And then there's something called delayed pleasure. This is the kind of pleasure you earn by putting in the effort first. Things like working out, completing a task, mastering a skill. All these are forms of delayed pleasure. The key difference between instant pleasure and delayed pleasure is that delayed pleasure is a lot more long lasting and is actually good for you. You develop skills alongside with receiving that healthy dose of pleasure. So these days I structure my entire day around this sort of earned pleasure, and I've noticed something quite profound. When you're busy getting the work done and getting healthy amounts of pleasure, then you no longer seem to crave instant pleasure. So if you just fill your life with the right pleasures, the wrong ones just lose their grip on you. There's a saying that you are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. I would add on to this, you are also the average of the type of content that you watch in a day. Back when I was hooked on fast-paced, shallow entertainment and scrolling through reels, my mind actually started mimicking the content that I was watching. I found every other activity boring, I couldn't focus, and I lost my hunger to grow as a person. And honestly, I was just numb. So I decided to make a shift. I now consume long-form, intentional content, podcasts, documentaries, meaningful movies. I cut down on quantity and doubled on quality. And within weeks of making the switch, my inner dialogue changed. My ideas got deeper, my discipline got stronger. I felt like I was now nourishing my brain rather than just flooding it with cheap dopamine. So be careful of what you consume, because eventually it consumes you too. For as long as I can remember, I was in this weird state where I was tired during the day when I actually needed to get the work done, but I was wide awake most nights when I was supposed to be sleeping. If this sounds familiar, that means your body's circadian rhythm, which is your biological clock, is a bit off. Once I learned how important this biological clock was, I made an attempt to reset it. And here's exactly how you do it. I now eat at regular times every day. My first meal is at 12 p.m. and my last meal is at 6 p.m. Irregular eating times is shown to throw off your internal clock. The next thing I do is that I go to bed at the same time every day, including the weekends. This consistency lets your body know when it's time to wind down and when it's time to be energetic. Lastly, I stop eating food at least 90 minutes before I go to bed. So this way my body is not just digesting food and instead focuses on recovering during sleep. Getting in sync with your biological clock means your energy levels, your focus, your hormones all start lining up correctly. And suddenly staying disciplined does not feel like a fight anymore. It just feels natural. Here's how I used to start my mornings. Alarm rings, grab my phone, check notifications, scroll Instagram and Reddit for 20-30 minutes. And back then this seemed quite harmless to me, right? Just a quick 20-minute scroll. But this completely ruined my momentum for the rest of the day. This hit of instant dopamine early on in the day made everything feel harder for the rest of the day. I already lost my day even before the day actually started. Now I start my day by doing something challenging. But not too challenging so that you don't dread it so much you actually begin to procrastinate it. Usually it's just 30 minutes of deep focused work. I roll out of bed, no phone, just straight to the desk and start for 30 minutes. And when you first start this practice, it doesn't even matter what you're working on. The point is that I am trying to show my mind that in order for it to receive pleasure, it needs to get some work done. And when you stack this win early on in the day, then it's easier to get more wins later on in the day. Discipline starts the minute that you wake up. Back in the days, I would binge watch motivational videos and I would just feel unstoppable, but only for like 3 or 4 days. Then my motivation would run out and I would spiral back into my old habits and I would wonder why I wasn't consistent. It took me years and a copy of Atomic Habits to realize that motivation is just a spark and not a fuel. You don't need more hype. You need systems. A system is just a structured way of getting things done, whether you feel like it or not. For me, that meant building routines. I would schedule when I would work out, when I would study, and when I would eat. And once I had those time blocks set, I would then stop negotiating with myself. It wasn't a question anymore. It was just something that needs to be done. And here's the really surprising bit. Living your life by a routine does not have to feel robotic. It actually frees up so much of your mental energy. I stopped second guessing myself. I stopped wasting time planning things and instead spent all that energy in executing things. If you want discipline that lasts, build the machine. Then just run the program. Here's how I used to do things in the past. I would go all in, full throttle, perfectionist mode. I would read like 40 pages a day and feel like a genius. But then I would avoid reading for weeks because the thought of reading 40 pages once again felt like a mountain to climb. Same with the workouts. I would crush it once, but then I would crash. That all or nothing mindset was killing my progress. Now I instead focus on sustainable consistency. I actually now do less than I'm capable of on purpose. I now read 10 pages rather than 40. I work out enough just to feel good and not dead. I aim for habits that I can repeat daily, not the ones that drain me after one round. And the truly surprising thing is, once you show up consistently, the intensity naturally catches up. I've been reading, training, and building for years now. And the things that once felt hard now just feel natural because they're part of my identity. Discipline isn't built by going hard. It's built by showing up every day. You know, we have all heard this, just get 8 hours of sleep and we are all good to go. Yeah, not quite. I used to think that way too, that if I just hit that 8-hour number, I would be golden. But here's the thing, not all sleep was created equal. When I was sleeping at random hours, sometimes at 10 p.m., sometimes at 1 a.m., I woke up groggy, drained, and almost felt like I had a jet lag, no matter how long I slept. Turns out that regular sleep times matter far more than the duration of sleep. When your body does not know when to release the right sleep hormones or when to release the right wake up hormones, then your whole system gets confused. And discipline now becomes way harder because now you're fighting exhaustion from the moment you wake up. What I do now is that I go to bed at the same time every single night, even on weekends. I even set a wind down alarm 30 minutes before my actual sleep time. And once this alarm hits, my phone goes on flight mode. I turn on the air conditioning so my room is cool. I make sure that my bed is cozy. Basically, I treat sleep like the performance enhancer that it really is. So if you want discipline to feel natural and not forced, optimize your sleep first. It's free, it's powerful, and it changes everything. The biggest myth about discipline is that it's about forcing yourself to do hard things 24/7. In reality, discipline is about removing friction. It's about structuring your life so that the right decisions become default, not a debate. And once you build that foundation, something amazing happens. Goals start chasing you, opportunities find you, energy becomes automatic, and the version of you, the one that you're trying to reach, starts showing up every day. If you're looking for the exact structure that got me disciplined, then make sure that you watch this video to find out more about it.